mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
All right. What is happening?
It has been, and it will continue to be. And President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander in chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table.
If they do that,
Damn, this is...
then the war is going to fail really quickly, because I just don't think the American people are willing to saddle up their sons and daughters for the draft. If they could get away with it, I think they'd be tempted to do it.
As Trump is out there increasingly making World War III more and more possible with his outrageous Truth Social posts,
I said y'all, this is World War III. This is the World War III, I told you. This is the starting point, just like happened in World War II. This is some of the starting streaks.
And the White House press secretary, Carolyn Leavitt, not ruling out a draft. Trump, GOP have gravely miscalculated whether or not the American people and even MAGA want to send their children off to war.
Starting in December, all men between the ages of 18 and 25 will be automatically registered for the military draft. They'll be added into the Selective Service System. That's the independent government agency that keeps a list of all eligible Americans. For decades, the majority of men would register themselves or face a felony. Congress tucked the rule change into a bipartisan defense bill.
What the hell is happening? What is this? Everybody has to go to the war for a crazy man like that?
Bill that President Trump signed into law late last year. It comes as enrollment has slipped in recent years, even as worries about conflicts with nations like China and Russia have grown. There has not been a military draft since the Vietnam War.
A new law just went into effect that the Republicans thought was a good idea. Instead of having men here in the United States between the ages of 18 and 25,
18 and 25, all of the men has to compulsory do a military draft. It has been in effect right now. So every American has to do that.
Have to register for the military draft. They made it automatic, which means that every child at 18 is automatically registered for the draft. They use federal information in order to find who should be registered and then go ahead and register them. Republicans thought this was a good idea, despite the fact that this Trump regime renamed the Department of Defense Department of War and then carried out attacks in the Caribbean, took over Venezuela, basically, threatening a war with Iran way back in June.
This is what is happening. Trump said, no war in my term. And here he is doing all the wars. Nobody can do.
Never mind what's happening now. During the midst of all this, Trump didn't even go to Congress for any one thing, making all of his military actions.
Nothing. Even in the tariffs, the federal judge said that tariffs are bad. Even though in that things, Trump is never to be near to the Congress of there.
Essentially illegal under domestic law. Who even knows over international law? Especially that double tap strike on the boat in the Caribbean, clearly violation of a war crime. Well, in the midst of that, Republicans proposed and passed this law, creating this automatic registration, because evidently not enough men in America at that age were registering. Only about 80% or so were going through what was already required law that they register. So supposedly Republicans said they wanted to save money, because this is what it's all about, evidently, saving money.
Saving money. Oh, damn. Okay.
And automatically registering men. So now, in the midst of Trump threatening World War III, all of your male children, the federal government knows them, has registered them. If they want to call up that draft, as Carolyn Leavitt says, Trump is not eliminating any possibility.
This is what is happening. Ding dong, ding dong. Hello, your male children is in the line for going to the war with the US side. Let them have him. This is what is happening. This is what is happening.
It is so easy for them to do it because they already have registered them.
If they do that, then the war is going to fail really quickly because I just don't think the American people are willing to saddle up their sons and daughters for the draft.
No.
No. If they could get away with it, I think they'd be tempted to do it because it'd be like all options on the table, right? Like if they say like, if we get so far sucked into this thing, kind of like we did in the Iraq War, where it's like we can only win by applying a massive amount of ground troops. Iran is so big, we can't do it with the standing military that we have right now, as big as it is. We would have to do a draft.
Yes, our military is very small because versus the Iran has it right now, because Iran's structure as a land, Iran's mountains and everything. This is very different situation for the US military, and we need as many as possible troops in our line.
Now, I think a negative to a downside to the all-volunteer force we've had is that it's been very easy to deploy us, and most Americans don't really know or care that we've been deployed because we volunteered for it. We have professional soldiers.
Okay.
I think a draft is actually a good check on that. I think compulsory service. I think if there was more people right now who they had to go do 2 years in the military, and
they are doing it a compulsory service. Compulsory.
They were like, oh crap, my 2
draft.
years are going to involve this Iran deployment. I think a lot more people in America, and that was felt by the entire American population, that every able-bodied man and woman was eligible for a 2-year period to go serve. Wars like this.
This is every male, every female eligible to serve 2 years on the wartime. 2 years. Damn.
This wouldn't happen, in my opinion.
That is a very interesting point of view that I have not thought about.
Yeah. As much as I don't like the idea of conscripting people or having mandatory service, because I liked the professional warrior class that we were a part of. I like serving with volunteers. Problem with volunteers is, man, we'll just keep going back, and you'll create a professional warrior class. And then we'll, like I did, we'll intermarry and we'll live in our tight communities. Everybody I know is a veteran. And so we have an insular community, and we're the only ones that experience the war, experience the loss, and we keep going back over and over again. Whereas if you spread out that burden to the entire country, it makes it almost impossible.
This is what going to happen. I just laugh at this. I just laugh at this. I mean, they are really doing this, and they're proposing this kind of things. I mean, if you are an American citizen, what are your thoughts really? Do you send your male children to go to war for like 2 years, where the probability of him like dying because of the war is so high, because it's 2 years in a 24-hour in a day, and you're 2 years, 365 plus 365, almost 700 plus days, and it can happen any fraction of the second.
To keep us at war for a prolonged period. The only reason the Vietnam War ended is because there was the people basically revolted against it because of the draft. And that's a big reason why I think after Vietnam, they were like, we can't draft people anymore. Let's create a professional military.
Damn.
This is
I have
big.
not thought about it like that.
Yeah.
MAGA cracks are showing around this war. Megyn Kelly being the latest to directly confront Trump over what these actions. In the midst of all of this automatic registration for the draft comes out. And it's also in the midst of the Republicans trying to pass the SAVE Act, the Voter Registration Act. If you take these two next to each other, the Voter Registration Act is, according to the Republicans, done in order to make sure people who vote can legally vote. Well, as it turns out, the federal government has data about who is a citizen and not a citizen.
This is what it is all about. Now everything is in the straight line, everything in a straight path that you can understand. Now the government has the data, and data is what? This is for military. This is what it is.
Because they literally are using that data to automatically register these men for the draft. Certainly, they could do that for our vote. They have the information, so much so they're willing to rely on that information to literally send somebody off to war to die. So they could use that same data to know that these people were valid citizens and could vote and could automatically register people to vote at the age of
This is what it is happening. This is what it is. Damn, my man.
18, not just automatically register them to go off and die for this country. No, instead, they are proposing the most cumbersome thing of having people find information like their passports. Maybe they don't have a passport. We have a right not to travel internationally in this country, or their birth certificates, which nobody has. Because the fact is this information isn't just private information. This is government information.
This is what it is. Not private. It is a government. Yes.
The government literally gives us these documents. The government has already validated the information, which means they have the information. So if the government wanted to, they could rely on that information to automatically register every 18-year-old to vote.
This is what it is. This is true. This is your son, 18-year-old or 25 in this period, going to war right now. What?
Now, as you can imagine, that post did not go over well with the Iranians or with many Americans. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. Can't he just behave like a normal human? I mean, honestly, like the president, 3D chess, shut up. Fucking shut up about that shit. You don't threaten to wipe out an entire civilization. We're talking about civilians just casually in a social media post. You know, like I am the first to try to understand Trump and his strategy and to not freak out over his weird social media posts.
In a truth social is the social media where Donald Trump just added anything comes into his mind without suggesting, without taking advice from the Congress of America. This is what is happening in the Donald Trump's term.
And language that is loose and incendiary. Truly, I've lived with it for 10 plus years. I learned it the hard way when I was on the receiving end of it for 9 months. And truly, I think that was a gift to me in many ways because it helped me really come to understand what he does with his social media. But this is completely irresponsible and disgusting.
It is irresponsible, completely and disgusting. It is
wrong.
It's
wrong.
wrong. Yes, it is.
He should not be doing it.
No.
I don't care that it's his negotiation tactic is to kill an entire country full of civilians, men, women, and children. An American president so that the Strait of Hormuz will be opened. It's just wrong. It's not hard to say it. It's not hard to recognize it. I wish he would stop doing this. Like, he can't negotiate without doing this. What does that say about him? What does that say about the position that our country is in right now in these?
It is really what it is. This is not good. This shows no good thing. This shows a bad behavior and all. I mean, this is not a decision you make alone, right?
Negotiations. He's got to say this. He can't be a dignified, strong leader without threatening a bunch of war crimes. Like what is he, Genghis Khan? Like what is he?
Yeah, it is. Is he a Genghis Khan? No, every 7 people is the ancestor of Genghis Khan. This is what it is.
Trying to do. And why can't he do it with strength, threats? Sure, go for it. That don't diminish and demean the United States of America in this way. All right. The Wall Street Journal.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the Midas Touch podcast on Apple.
This is what it is, guys. This is what it is. Your thoughts are really important into this. Your accent, your thoughts, your everything. You are the patriotic American people, and you have the rights, you have the power to change these things. Nobody, an alone person, can make such kind of decision without your thoughts.